So I am so sorry for spacing out a couple weeks ago. No excuse. Things were actually pretty lax that week, and I just kind of forgot what week it was. So, some life updates. Things have really picked up for the summer. I have a family pizza bake-off in a couple of weeks. Me and Elizabeth, I'm not sure if you guys know her, but me and my friend Elizabeth are going to team up. This is the first time I've brought in a non-family team member. I'm pretty pumped. Some fresh blood. We're going to do a dessert pizza. I can't reveal any more than that, but it'll probably be a future video. It's also my birthday this week, which is weird, and I was going to do something and then just couldn't decide, and things are really busy, so I'm not doing anything. At Chin Music Press, I have been doing a lot of work for Ghosts of Seattle Past, and that's been really cool. It's a lot of really substantial, more investigative work. It's not so much what can often happen in the office, which is nice, moving a book through the process of publishing and doing various things that are just like housekeeping. They need to happen. But this, I have been transcribing interviews that I conducted, and I've been working with interns to transcribe interviews and to figure out what we're gonna investigate to put stats together for a zine. And I'm actually really excited about that. We're trying to figure out what stats and pieces of information we can get that'll give people a really visceral snapshot of development in Seattle. Number of homeless people, number of cranes, income inequality. And these are things that I think my boss had the idea, and then the project people had even more ideas about things we could include in that stats list. And it's just a really different dynamic from what's in the project already. And so it's exciting to see this whole new thing bloom and this really important, hard-hitting thing kind of come into the project, which the project was already very political and doing really important work, but this new dimension. I went to an opening at the Center for Architecture and Design downtown, which put that project together with all of these other artists around town who are trying to think through what it means, the way the city has changed, what it means for an older black man in the CD to see his family kind of pushed out of the neighborhood and be disoriented, not have those same people to anchor him. What it means for this project called Invisible Seattle that tried to get Seattleites to build a novel of the city together. What that means, this far down the line when they were working in the 80s and 90s. What kind of story that is now, what kind of landscape, what kind of technology we could use now. And I'm really grateful that I've gotten to work with writers who I really respect and have read, and I'm getting to do stuff that isn't straight editing, that's actually making content from scratch, and that's really powerful. And it's also really cool to get to focus in on that one project, because everything else is either someone else in the office has got it or we're waiting for it to be ready. And so to get to plunge in and to have lots of different tasks, but all for one central thing, is really unusual. Usually it's one thing for one project, another thing for another project. So that's been cool. It's been like having a whole different job for the time being. I also found out from my property manager this last week that my lease, which I thought was up at the end of August, is actually up on August 15th. So I'm moving early. And actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm moving in with Jack and Dandy and our friend Jameson, and maybe since I'm moving early, their friend Ashleen, who's already there. But it's cool. Technically we're just Jack's guests. It's his place. But it's going to be great to stay with them for a while, and then we'll all move out together, hopefully, into a place. But it's like a little right-away reunion. We're all there. We're gonna do workshops. We're gonna cook together. It's gonna be good times. So it's been interesting. I talked last time about my non-transition, but it's about to take this move, about to move out of this place, not live with Jasmine, who I've lived with off and on for the past like 4 or 5 years. It is a transition, and like one of our old roommates is moving away to Ohio for research. Another is coming back, having been away for AmeriCorps for a year, and it's weird seeing people come and go and seeing, even if it doesn't feel like transitions, like these transitions that are such large scale that they kind of sneak by you, and like Adria, you kind of shifting gears in your life, getting married, and I mean it shows the way you think about your goals, the way you even talk about in your videos, making different goals, taking stock, having that person, that partner there for those. Gwendolyn, to watch you move through that long application process, and now moving to New Jersey. I don't know why I talk about transitions so much. It's just, it's interesting to me the different ways that we perceive it. Because there are times when I'm like, man, like your lives are changing so much. And then there's other times where it just sneaks up. And I think it's the difference between saying, okay, let's make a transition, or being conscious that a transition is happening or going to happen, and shifting the way you live. Having made that transition, really living into it and really finding your life and the way you go about things be different. And I'm starting to see that. So that's interesting. I don't know. Something about this time of summer when it's really warm and I see my family because we have our pizza bake-off and I have my birthday, so you know, you're thinking about aging. But also just the feel, I think, of the summer and the late nights and the heat. I do more musing, I think. I space out. I can't necessarily sleep because it's so hot. And I don't know. I'm very reluctant to make generalizations, and I like to be reflective, but I also tend to second guess my reflections and want to say like, jury's still out. But this is the time of year when I notice stuff and I kind of draw patterns. See, I don't know if that's true. I might just be making that up. Well, let's see. Let's see next year. Anyways, I am blabbering. But I love you guys. I hope you're doing well. See you in a few weeks. Oh, also, depending on the order in which you watch these, a bonus video to make up for being a flake.